everyone, and welcome to the first video of Making D&D. Each month, I'm going to take the objects, amulets, magical items, and more from D&D, and I'm going to be creating them in real life. Why? Because I love playing D&D with my husband and my friends, and also I love making. So for this first month, I wanted to create something that people, as soon as they looked at it, they knew it. It's well known, it's super cool, and also I think it's awesome. So what did I make? I made this. This is a Dwarven Thrower. It came on the scene in the second edition of D&D, and it's a very rare item, and also it's a cool looking warhammer. So if you want to see how I made this, stay tuned for the rest of the video and I'll show you exactly the steps I took to make this awesome warhammer. Let's get started. My first step in making this hammer is to sketch it out, so I'm going to show you really quickly exactly what I did in my sketch. This helps me figure out all the pieces and details, including the areas that are not already known, like the top or the other side. This sketch and thoughts on the structure, the internal structure, will allow me to create a good baseline drawing of the hammer, which will then lead to those pattern pieces that you see later in this video. After the sketch is where I want it and I have base measurements, I begin creating a full-scale line drawing that I can print out and use for my pattern pieces. This line drawing is available on my website in the step-by-step post about this hammer and making this hammer. The link is down below in the description to the video. Now that you have your PDF printed out and taped together, I'm going to show you exactly how I build the structure with these materials. So I will put links down below to a blog post that actually goes step by step of exactly what I'm doing. And with the materials that you're going to need, I have some 3/4 inch PVC pipe with cross and a couple of other odds and ends, as well as PVC glue, primer and glue that you're going to need. I also am going to use these eye hooks at the end of my hammer so that I can put that last little ring on the base. All right, now to glue everything together. I've got these open. Yes, sometimes they are tricky and hard to get open. But now I'm going to show you exactly how I'm going to glue these all together. What you want to make sure before you start is that where you cut, that you clear some of that excess PVC. That's just going to get in the way and not allow you to have the best seal. All right, so first things first, I'm going to glue the long handle to the center cross. Now, I've always been told that when you're putting it together that you need to do like a 1/4 turn, and that really makes it glue together. I don't know if that's actually true. That's just, I think, what my dad told me to make me pay attention a little bit more as I was putting it together. Now I'm going to put all the rest of the parts together. Now that you've created your structure for your Dwarven Thrower, I am going to show you exactly how I created the foam around it. What I did was I cut a couple of pattern pieces out of cardstock. I have 2 pieces that make up the actual center base of the Dwarven Thrower. So if I pull this template, these will make the both fronts and the top and bottom. I've also labeled how much to cut so that I can remember. And then I have my 2 pieces for the sides, one that matches the wider, the other one that matches the smaller part. And I've again written how many to cut just in case. And then, as you can see from the picture of this template, there is a portion that juts out right here, and I've cut a template piece for that, just so I can make sure as I'm laying out all of the pieces on my foam that I am not wasting any of this roll, so that I can use it for projects next time. All right, now that I've put these side pieces on the hammer, I'm really excited because now we get to do the sanding, but most excitingly, the details that go on top of this to make this look like our Dwarven Thrower. Let's do it. All right, now that I'm nearing the end of the actual build and the detailing, I want to talk to you about the detailing that I've made for all these, the center pieces. So what I've done is I've cut out 2 of the frames as well as 2 of the mountains, and I'm going to show you how I actually carved and detailed these once I do them. But the reason that I have not put these on is that I was actually working on the gemstones that go in. So I have a resin printer, and that resin printer can make these clear gems. But as soon as I got them out, I was like, yeah, they're cool, but they don't really do anything other than our clear green gems. So what I decided to do is I took one, put it in a plastic cup, the bottom of a plastic cup. As you can see, this one has been destroyed because I was pulling off it, and I used it to cast a silicone mold so that I could make my own gems. So this cast is of this gem. As soon as I did that, I casted it with glow-in-the-dark pigment, as well as, if you can see, some gold flakes, which are pretty awesome. And I made 2 of these. What's really cool about this, and I'll pull one out of the UV, is that they glow. And so I wanted to create a really cool gem that would glow in the dark, depending on what you're doing with this hammer. It's really easy to get these glow-in-the-dark pigments, and I'll put a link below for the pigments that I actually used in this. The gold flakes were just an extra touch to kind of tie it in to the actual color scheme of what we're going to paint at this Dwarven Thrower, based off of the actual, drawing of it, the rendering of it. So with that, I was like, okay, we've got that done. Now I need to glue it on, and I'll show you how I did that. But I wanted to figure out what would actually be on the top. There are no images of the top, so it's kind of up to me of what I thought. So I made a 3rd frame that is going to match the other sides that will be going on top right here, as well as I'm going to glue all these pieces together and round them over to create a rounded end of our handle post that will go right here. So I thought, you know what, instead of like doing a crazy spike or anything like this, since this is a thrown piece, maybe the handle goes all the way up and is actually holding this end. So that's what I'm going to do with this. So I'll show you how I'm going to do that. And with that, that's all of our details. So I'm going to finish up those last couple details, and then it's on to paint. Here is a look at the hammer assembled before it is sanded, primed, and base coated. I use a foam filler and a couple of base coat products made by Punky before plasti dipping the hammer black. Links to the products I use / local alternatives and more pictures about the process are in the description below. For paint, I started painting the silver flexi paint all over with multiple coats, then to working on the details in the multiple coats of acrylic paint, which is the gold as well as the brown. So while I'm waiting to do the second coat of the gold on the top of the hammer, I'm actually going to talk about what I did with the area right here and the area down here. As you can kind of see in the picture, it looks like there might be runes on there, but I can't find like a close enough photo to figure out what they are. So I thought, why not just look at the lore and decide based off of the lore what would be written on there. So what I've decided is that the top runes will wrap around and say death to giants. And the bottom one is actually just a funny inclusion, and it's gonna say throw me. So I've grabbed the rune layout and exactly how it should look. So I'm gonna lay those out. But I'm not gonna paint them. I'm actually gonna use just gold Sharpie marker because I think it'll be easier. And when I spray, when I seal the hammer, it'll last. So I'm gonna do that now. The last step for paint is weathering. This is my favorite step because I want my props to look like they have seen some battles and could tell stories if they talked. I used black Hex Flex paint to make this happen, and you can find a link to where to buy that in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you would like to see more of the things I make, or you have your own suggestion of something from D&D that you would like to see made in real life, subscribe to this channel and comment below. As always, you can find links to everything that I used to create this hammer below in the description. Until next time, happy making.